This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Trade.
Here we go. The Brisbane Bullets taking on the New Zealand Breakers. The Breakers just sitting lowly at the bottom of the table at 0-6. I'm going to need to see a lot more from them before I start backing them. The Bullets, well, we haven't seen them for a while, but the last time we did see them, they took over the Hawks, and that's good enough for me for them to get this one done. So I'm going to take the Bullets head-to-head. I'll also take them at the line here because this is the sort of game that a team who at the end of the season is going to be fighting for one of those final places in the finals, you need to be beating teams like the New Zealand Breakers. So I'll take the Bullets in their head-to-head. I'll take them at the line as well. And of course, with teams, once they've taken a bit of time off, they just started to get back into it. The total points under. I reckon this is going to be a pretty slow game. Enjoy it, and most importantly, gamble responsibly.
I'm never off my grind. I'm always on time. I'm ahead of the game. I'm first place. I'm in my prime. Hard work that pays off. I pay dues. I'm paid off. Cross me, get crossed off. I'm so fresh. I'm so raw. Go hard like A-Day. It's game time like game day. I ball hard and clutch play. It's game time like game day. Now let the games begin.
No doubt about it, these are some of the most challenging times in the world right now, but the good news and the light at the end of the tunnel from an NBL perspective is we've got a game this afternoon at Nissan Arena. Great to have your company. Hello and welcome to round 6 action as the Brisbane Bullets play host to the New Zealand Breakers. Jack Everin joined in commentary by the GOAT, Andrew Gaze and Liam Santamaria. I think I speak on behalf of all of us, gentlemen, when I say it is good to see some hoops.
Isn't it? It's been a dry spell we've gone through no fault of anyone other than like the whole world is dealing with the COVID situation. Seems like we've been off for ages and ages, but it's great to have basketball back in, and a very important game for two teams particularly New Zealand Breakers 0-6 start, they need a win. We're
going to dig into that in just a moment, but a statement that was released on social media this afternoon from the NBL's Commissioner, Jeremy Laliga, it's on your screen right now. Liam, the crux of it is that we feel like there is that light at the end of the tunnel that I spoke about, and most importantly, the patience of the fans through this has been just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been tough, hasn't it, without all this NBL basketball over the holiday period. The fans have been fantastic. I've also been feeling for the players, the clubs, the coaches, all these guys who have been just itching to get back out there, and I think we've got a whole bunch of basketball to come in the next few weeks.
Well, here's the DoorDash starting lineup for the Brisbane Bullets, who we haven't seen since December 19, their win over the Illawarra Hawks. 21 days. One thing we know that man on screen, Robert Franks, in the 4 games they've played so far, he is legit.
He has been outstanding. Robert Franks, top 5 in scoring and rebounding, averaging about 20 and 10. And a key part of this starting unit that really hasn't been changed all that much over the course of the season. Sobey, Drimmick and Patterson on the perimeter, Franks and Tyrell Harrison inside.
They've been superb so far, the Brisbane Bullets. 2 wins and 2 losses. Let's get to Nissan Arena for the first time today. As always, it's a very good afternoon to you, John Guana. And, gee, you've called him one of the league's real heavy hitters this afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon, guys. Yes, I have the starting point guard of the Brisbane Bullets all-time 5, Derek Rucker, with me. Derek, we're back here in Brisbane. We got live basketball. You really love this Bullets team. What is it that you love about them?
John, I just really like the versatility. They've got a lot of guys on the perimeter that can go two-way. They can defend, they can score. But surprisingly, John, in this early good start for the Bullets, they haven't really shot that ball that well from the perimeter. So I think that's an area in which they can really improve.
They take on a New Zealand team looking for their first win. Now, the Bullets haven't played in 3 weeks. New Zealand hasn't played in 2. What do the Breakers have to do to pick up their first win of the season?
Well, they've shown signs, haven't they, John? We saw them get out to a flyer down in Adelaide, but they just keep falling short in the second half. But you know what? Eventually, they're going to put a full 40 minutes together, and it very well could be to this afternoon, John, because if a New Zealander feels comfortable anywhere, it's in southeast Queensland, where there are 200,000 Kiwis.
Well, we're going to find out really soon if the Breakers have it. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, John. And great to have Derek as part of our coverage this afternoon as well. Here's the DoorDash lineup for the New Zealand Breakers. Ousmane Dieng starting, but the biggest news from a New Zealand perspective is the return of Peyton Siva.
It is, and he didn't have a great start to his NBL career, but he's got a very strong pedigree. Look to see from him. Ousmane Dieng, they're trying to get this guy going, shooting the ball poorly on the season, only 21% from the field and a 2 of 21 at 9% from the three-point line. Really need to try and find ways to get him going. And same with Hugo Basson, who started off on fire from the three-point line, 0 of 10 in his last 2 games. So get them going early, trying to get that scoreboard ticking over.
And a big shout out as well to our Kmart Game Time ball kit for today. Edward, look at Edward. There's a future hooper if you've ever seen one. You can head to the NBL website to find out more about having the Game Time by Kmart experience at your school. Bullets are just about ready to go at Nissan Arena. For the New Zealand Breakers, 0-6. It's been their worst start in franchise history. We haven't seen them since Boxing Day. Is it a chance to recalibrate, reload? Are they at that stage of the season already, Liam?
Oh, I think they have to, yeah. Turn a new leaf. New year, new Breakers. That's got to be the mentality. And it starts at the defensive end. They're last in the league in defensive efficiency. Yes, they've got to knock down those shots, Drewy, but they've got to get some stops and keep the Bullets out of the paint this afternoon.
They've been rubbish on the defensive end. Let's call it how it is. They need a big improvement in that area.
Brisbane, 2 wins, 2 losses from their games so far. 6th on the table. The New Zealand Breakers dead last. 6 losses from 6 starts so far. Will McDowell-White back in his hometown of Brisbane today for the first time ever, playing in front of family and friends, albeit as a breaker. Down low to Wetzel off the first possession. He's been their shining light so far.
They worked their way through that nicely, the Breakers, to open this ball game. Found the mismatch eventually down low. Yanni Wetzel goes to work, and look at this, a little 1-2-2 zone to open proceedings from the Breakers.
He's not afraid to throw different looks, Dan Shamir. I'd say we see a lot of zone D off the top. Frank's mid-range 2 off the front of the iron. Terrell Harrison offensive rebound. Gives the Bullets another look at it. And just as well he did, because Anthony Drimic, who is desperately searching for some form, opens the account for the Bullets.
Yeah, he's been down on his numbers, well down on his career numbers. So he's shown in the first quarters he's been okay, but throughout the course of games he's been poor. That'll help his confidence do the world of good.
Usman Jeng shooting the 3 ball at 9% for the season. That'll help.
That is critical. And starting the game, getting himself going. And you see they run this 1-2-2, but if you look at it, after the second pass, they do go back into a man-to-man. And they're doing this because what we've seen from the Brisbane Bullets and what James Duncan is doing, in the half court, they run some really good sets. So they throw a zone really just to try and get them out of those sets and then force them into their zone offense to keep away from their man offense, but they ultimately are playing a man-to-man defense, as you see now on the busted play. A little bit of trickery to start it on the defensive end.
Deep 2 from Patterson is long. And the Breakers want to push the ball via Delaney. 1-on-3 situation, no foul call. Lamar Patterson bringing the ball up the floor for the Breakers. His pass for Franks was chopped off by McDowell-White. Both Frenchmen on the floor to start with today. The French connection of Besson and Jeng. They work together that time around. Jeng gets past Patterson off the dribble. Was aggressive but couldn't finish off. Here's Sobey in transition, pull up 3. No good.
There's another man whose shooting percentages just a little bit down this season on what they were last year. Sub 40% from the field, sub 30% from 3 for Sobey as he warms his way into this season.
Sobey's going to have a big one. Became a father again, I think, a couple of days ago. And that'll bring a bit of emotion.
Now he's getting busy. Nice take. Sobey won Kenobi to the rack and one.
That's Nathan Sobey at his brilliant best. Out in transition, the kick ahead finds him on that left wing and just crossing over Besson. The explosion, the change of pace. And the new father kisses it in off the glass.
And defensive transition is vital in any league in the world. And when you've got a guy like Nathan Sobey out there, he gets a head of steam up. It's really hard to tough. You talk about New Zealand's woes on the defensive end. that they're giving up 91 points a game. Their opposition shoots at the highest field goal percentage at 47, close enough to 48%, and they're shooting at 42% against them. So their defense has been, no other way to describe it, it's been poor. The statistics don't lie, particularly when you've got a sample size of 6 games.
Nice finish from McDowell. White under pressure. Why is that, Liam? They're giving up 91 points a game, and there are a whole bunch of other defensive ratings that aren't good for New Zealand. Is it effort? Is it intent? Is it structure? What is it?
Oh, I think it's a little bit of all of that. There's a foul in the backcourt there. The Breakers will take it out of bounds. Firstly, you've got some young guys on this roster that are playing a bunch of minutes. You know, haven't really advanced their game at that end of the floor. Basson, Dieng, they've got some strides to take in that regard. And the other thing is continuity. You know, teams get better defensively by staying together year after year after year. And this is a team that's had a lot of change over the last couple of seasons. And so they've had a lot of trouble keeping guys out of the lane, giving up a lot of layups. And then the threes, as Drewy points out the stats, the threes they have been giving up have been wide open. So it must be a point of emphasis for Dan Shamir and this squad coming into this new year.
Delaney gave up the 3.
Well, the other thing too,
deep instead.
Sorry, the other thing too on that, and you can get jump at shadows when you're looking at all the stats, and they don't always tell the story, but they're giving up the least turnovers, so they're only producing 9 turnovers a game in their opponents, and that usually is a sign that you're just not aggressive enough on the ball. You're not getting enough of those deflections. You're not causing disruptions on the offensive end for your opponents, and it's hard in this league where defense is a premium for every single team in the competition, and you just need to be a little bit down. Combine that with some real poor three-point shooting at the other end. It's a hard combination to overcome in this league. You can get away with it in some leagues, but not in this league.
Breakers lead it by 3. Patterson with his feet in the paint. Foul by Jeng. Points are good.
That's really nice execution from the Bullets. The Breakers, they start in the zone, but then they go to the man-to-man matchup D. And the Bullets immediately go at Lamar Patterson in the block. He's got the teenager Dieng as his primary defender. And he just doesn't really make much of a move. Just pivots over that left shoulder. Powers up through the contact. And one opportunity.
Well, on there, he's just got to do a better job of fighting through that little cross screen. Simple cross screen. Maybe needed a little help from the screeners, man, just to bump him, to give him that step. But you can't let anyone in this league catch it that deep to the basket. I know he's got the size advantage. He's got to work harder at preventing that action rather than trying to defend it once a superstar like Lamar Patterson gets it on the block.
Besson sent the defense one way, lays it up with the left hand.
Beautiful take. Comes peeling off those screens on the weak side. I like the way he put the ball out in front of him as he sliced into the paint. Ooh.
Sobey gave it up. On Hugo Besson, Liam, averaged 20 points a game in his first 4 games of the season. The last 2 before our COVID break has averaged just 7. Wetzel's fouled by Harrison.
They're the ebbs and flows that you have with talented youngsters. You know, with inexperience comes inconsistency, and he was just absolutely on fire early goals. 20 a game. As you said earlier, Drew, he was shooting 47% from 3, 14 of 30 over his first 4, Besson. And last couple of games, struggled. 0 of 10 from 3.
10.
7 points per game over those last 2 games. So definitely looking to get going today.
Let's get courtside to Derek Rucker.
Hey guys, I know this is something that Andrew and I bemoaned for years. It's a lack of structure that sometimes we find in these games. But I'll tell you, these first few minutes have been really good in terms of structure and execution from both teams. The Bullets don't look as rusty as I thought, but Andrew, this would be very pleasing to you.
Absolutely, and you see it with New Zealand. Getting the ball through some hands, running off some screens as Kadee with a nice little penetration to the basket and splits that 1-2-2 defense wide open. And it seems like it's a real concerted effort by New Zealand to get it through some hands, swing it through some side to side before they look to get into that attack mode, and it's paying off for them. They're at 50% from the field.
That's not a good take from Usman Jeng. It's out of bounds. It'll be a Breakers Bullets ball, I should say.
These are those kind of fundamentals defensively we're talking about here for the Breakers. The closeout here to Kadee Finn Delaney just lets Kadee slide right past him towards the middle. Got to be able to carry a hand to the shooter, but sit down and stay in front of the ball. That's an easy take into the paint for Jason Kadee.
Well, spot on. Got to do a better job with the closeout, but gee, the weak side helps coming very late. Defensive breakdowns by 2 or 3 guys, not just the guy that was closing out.
We often talk about barometers as Tamari Wigness checks in. Jason Kadee, 5 of 10 from outside when they win Brisbane in their 2 games, 0 of 5 in the 2 games that they've lost. So his spark off the bench has been crucial for them so far this season. That pass batted down. That'll be a New Zealand ball.
Nice to see Peyton Seaver back out there, the import point guard for New Zealand. Obviously a highly credentialed player and just been sitting out for a few weeks with a bit of a hamstring injury. So back in the lineup today and off the bench here in the first quarter.
So with that means no Chasen Randall for the New Zealand Breakers, who played the 1 game as Seaver's replacement. This Seaver backdoor. Nice cut. Nice play, New Zealand.
That's when you're down on form, and in his case also haven't played for a while. Perfect execution to get something cheap, get an early basket, feel good about yourself, and well executed. Good pass, good cut. Air ball by Kadee.
Not so good.
That is not good.
Breakers lead it by 4. Timeout call with 4:15 to play in the opening quarter. New Zealand leading 15-11. They've been pretty promising so far, the Breakers.
Well, that'd be a success from Dan Shamir. Kept the Bullets to 11 over the first 5 minutes, or nearly 6 minutes here. As a result, got a little bit of a lead.
Play it harder.
So they have that set up, right? And this guard's going like this. I don't care if he does that. Just chase him over. No back cuts. Chase him over and be physical on the handoff. That's all we got to do. Everything's chase, 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 and try to blow them up. No back cuts. All right? They're slowing us down a little bit. We can go kick ahead into our picks or our pistols. And then when we're setting screens, we make sure, okay, we're hitting the bottom and then rolling out. All right?
Just switching a lot of stuff so the quick kicks to the roll-ups.
Let's get a snap for Robo. Here we go.
We heard Jason Kadee switching a lot of stuff. In fact, pretty much every on-ball we've seen so far by the Brisbane Bullets, the New Zealand Breakers have been switching. You heard him talking to his team about how he wants to play their defense. He wants to lock and trail. He's noticed what happened in that last with Peyton Seaver on that back cut, trying to overplay and take away those handoffs, or those cuts coming off the stagger or the zoom action on the wings, opening it up to the back door. So he's just saying, hey, we'll just lock and trail, get over the top of the screens, fight through it and try and blow it up that way rather than taking away the cut.
Ding Dang into the game for Brisbane. Wetzel. Franks did well, Delaney I should say, did well to stay in front.
Yanni Wetzel.
Points are going to count.
Indeed they are. He's been good, and surprisingly, like, that's 2 or 3 bounces and no help's coming. So they just play him one up straight up, and I think what we've seen from Yanni Wetzel so far this season, you leave him down there in a one-on-one contest, that's advantage Wetzel.
6th in the competition for points per game, Yanni Wetzel. 10th in the competition for rebounds per game. On form, Liam, he's one of the best big men in the league right now.
Oh, he's been outstanding, averaging 19 and 8, and they've signed him on a multi-year deal. Great pickup for the Breakers, big Kiwi, talented kid. And both these teams pounding it into the block at either end of the floor.
Now Franks wants to take it at Wetzel, off balance. Breakers push up ahead, they've got the advantage. Nice ball movement, results in an easy 2 for Wetzel, and New Zealand have scored the last 7 points. And Wetzel dominating in the opening quarter. He has 9 of New Zealand's 20. Wigness trying to cut his way through. Franks made the pass work, but couldn't finish off. Loose ball falls back out to Jason Kadee. Shot clock winds down to 5. Kadee trying to get in deep. And was contact on the arms, and he'll get himself to the strike.
Wily, crafty veteran move there from Jason Kadee. Really wasn't able to get the step on Yanni Wetzel, so then just got himself all tangled up with the big fella right there. Just put his arm out, tangled himself up with Wetzel, drew the contact and the whistle.
Well, he's good at it, Jason Kadee. He's going in there, and sometimes it's almost to his detriment that he's going in there trying to draw the foul rather than just concentrating on finishing the play. But that time, he was able to just get that little connection, that hook up, and exaggerate it, and finds his way to the line for a couple of freebies.
Closing in on 500 threes made in the NBL, Jason Kadee. Needs 4 more of them. (20-13). Opening quarter in the Hungry Jacks NBL. You can use the hashtag NBL22 to get involved on social media. Seaver. Nice little pass for Wetzel. Just to kick it back out. Still wants it in that low block. Gets busy on Franks. He's just too big and too strong.
Jeez. That's big, strong work from Wetzel. They're going at that matchup right now, and you can see James Duncan on the side there as the Breakers pick it up, looking to bring in a big.
Seaver in transition pulls up. Delaney on the offensive glass. The Breakers are bringing the energy and bringing the enthusiasm. Not that time, though. Brisbane up ahead. That pass batted down. It's out of play.
Well, they got the stop, but that to me is a worry. When you got Wetzel down there, down low, again, they had no one digging in, just left it in a one-on-one contest with Franks down low to deal with it. And although they get the stop on that occasion, I think that's advantage Wetzel when it's just a one-on-one contest.
Let's get courtside to John Guana.
Yeah, guys, I spoke to Coach James Duncan this week, and he's really keen to see the Bullets. He knows the keys to them being successful is to get stops and to rebound. He's not happy with their performance here so far today, and you can see why. They're getting out rebounded and getting out worked and all those little things at the moment.
And the Breakers, as a result, John, you're right, find themselves in a good spot. Galloway out there late in the quarter, as is Jeremiah Martin. Seaver pulls up from the elbow. Big Lou drags in the rebound for the Bullets. Patterson, excellent pass for Franks, blocked. Sam Timmins arrived late, got a piece of it. There's a foul on the floor, the points are waved away. We've only seen Sam Timmins a couple of times so far, Liam, but so far so good.
Plays with great energy, the big Kiwi, and got his hand on that one as Galloway did enough to just change Franks at the rim. And it's a good find from Patterson. The defense was looking one way, he went the other. Franks unable to finish.
90 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Patterson swings cross court to Kadee. The Bullets give it up.
That big Lou down low, and there was a mismatch, although he has a mismatch on most players he's up against, but there was I think it was Besson that was on him down low, and just need to throw it up in there. And sometimes that's just an example of where perhaps he hasn't won the confidence of his teammates just yet on the offensive end.
Martin trying to create off the dribble, pulls up for a tough two. The Bullets lift the tempo. Lou at the other end, though.
The email was just sent to us. It was there for a long time.
The
email was 21 to us about that.
So first and foremost,
Oh, hello.
there's a little bump with Jeremiah Martin and James Duncan. All accidental, of course.
I really don't like this call. It was off the ball with Big Joe. Big Lou. Where am I going? Big Lou. Here it is. You just jumped. He's a 7'4" guy. Now, they say that he was there for a few steps, but I don't think we like to see that when guys are running down the floor and just jump in front of him. Well, I don't like to.
No, I'm with you, Drew.
It's been a rule of contention this year, that one, hasn't it?
Well, if you park there and you've got 3 or 4 steps, well, okay, but just running in front of someone in falling over and getting rewarded.
Martin, beautiful little pass off to Timmins, who finishes from close range. This is a double-figure lead for the Breakers.
Great quarter from the Breakers, trying desperately to break through for their first win of the season, and they've started beautifully.
He didn't come up with it that time, but the energy that Peyton Sievers brought to today's game, you can tell that's a man that's been out for the best part of 4 weeks.
And I like the fact they've been getting after it a bit more defensively. Getting a little bit more in the passing lanes, making things tough, restricting the Bullets' ball movement. Just 13 first quarter points thus far for Brisbane.
Shot clock at 8. Patterson, step back 3. Timmins drags in the rebound. Shot clock switched off. Last possession of this opening quarter will belong to the New Zealand Breakers. A much better first term from them today. 16 and 14 in their last 2 first quarters. They're going to finish with a bucket. Peyton Sievers drains one late, and New Zealand take a 13-point lead into quarter time. Perhaps there is some rust for the Brisbane Bullets because it's been all Breakers after one. 26-13 on Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Quarter time at Nissan Arena in the Hungry Jacks NBL. The New Zealand Breakers have come out to play 26-13. Yanni Wetzel's been dominating underneath for New Zealand with 11 of their 26. And the Breakers, in their first game since December 19, might just be a little, the Bullets, I should say, might just be a little rusty.
Well, it is, and we've been critical of their defence so far this season, and they've picked it up in this one, holding your opponent to only 4 field goals made, but most importantly, 6 turnovers. They're only generating 9 on average, and they've already had 6 in the first quarter. Some good signs for the Breakers.
Harrison in the paint. Nice finish, nice play to start the second quarter for Brisbane.
They just looked like they lacked a little energy in that first quarter. Of course, this is a team that's been, had the virus going through their club in recent times, and guys getting pretty knocked around. Lamar Patterson had some comments to say. Felt like, geez, he had a really tough time of it. So it's always going to be tough to bounce back. Good take from Basson along the baseline, but they need to pick up the energy, the Bullets, if they're going to fight their way back into this thing.
It's Brisbane's biggest quarter-time deficit of the season so far, and their lowest first quarter in points scored. They've got some work to do. As you say, they've had just about their entire playing list affected by COVID in the last few weeks. Sobey gets the members bounce at Nissan Arena. He's up to 6 points on 2 of 3 shooting. McDowell White. Martin thought that he was fouled. Heard the officials say play on. Little pass off to Timmins, who had his shot blocked by Robert Franks, and then the pass in transition to Drimmick. He is a serious player in this league, Robert Franks.
Good play from Franks at the defensive end. Came across as the help man and sent that shot away, and then he just gobbled it up. Quick dribble down that middle cylinder, and a bounce pass for Anthony Drimmick ahead of the pack.
Brisbane have scored the last 5. Let's get courtside to Derek Rucker.
Well, guys, that was a great fight back from the Bullets. But look, New Zealand have really struck the first blow in terms of who's reactive and who is proactive. And right now, they've got the Bullets really worried about the inside attack, Liam. And now they're looking to exploit Martin against Lamar Patterson. So let's see how that develops coming out of this timeout, guys.
Yeah, well, Derek, down here on the Bullets end, Coach Duncan wanted better energy, and the Bullets certainly have started the quarter that way, cutting this deficit to 8 points. He said, guys, if you don't have the energy, you can't give me everything, we'll find someone else to step up. At the moment, the energy levels are great. They're doing what he wants, attacking the rim and getting those easy buckets.
Well, that's right, and they need it on the defensive end. Very reactive for Brisbane Bullets in that first quarter. And we talked, and Derek talked about the New Zealand Breakers getting through some sets and being organised, and the thing is that they were allowed to do it. They were just playing reactive basketball and not fighting through those screens, getting picked off on some back cuts. And they make the adjustments straight away. The New Zealand Breakers, this little run, and I like the move getting Siva back in there. Didn't start the game, but showed a bit of spice on the defensive end in particular.
That's Drimmick.
He comes back in.
Drimmick drew on the end of the bench there, getting the calf work. He was the man, of course, finished that play in transition. So maybe a little cramp for Drimmick early in the second quarter.
Delaney wants to back in on Franks. What a matchup that is. Delaney couldn't finish that time. Gets to knock down a field goal in the game so far. Sobey like a hot knife through butter.
Love that from Sobey. Just ask the question of the defense in transition. He's so quick, Nathan Sobey, and as he gets downhill, crossing the center line, able to make his way to the cup.
Foul on Harrison.
It's surprising when you see Sobey do that, and he's really kicked this along. You see down the other end the foul, and that's a pretty easy one. Wetzel, he's feeling good about himself, putting it to the deck, finding different ways to score. This time finds his way to the free throw line, but Sobey's been doing it for years. Go back to his Adelaide 36 days where he was there playing for Joey Wright, and in that system where they just would attack. You know it's coming. You practice for it. You get your defensive transition all set up, and it might look good in practice when it's not Nathan Sobey. You've got someone pretending to be Nathan Sobey, pretending the game. We've already seen twice. Just slice his way through to the basket, and it's a real strength, and it does put a lot of pressure on. And hello, Queensland, on behalf of Jack Cowan and the entire Hungry Jacks organisation, free burgers.
Code word is coach.
Thanks, Lamar.
There you go, have some burgers.
That's right. Well, courtesy of Yanni Wetzel too, was it Wetzel that missed those?
That was Andrew, yes. Patterson has some room now to create. Lost the handle. Gives it back to the Breakers.
What did the defender do wrong? Okay, if that's the standard, I get it. That's the standard, I got it. I get it.
James Duncan, coach of the Brisbane Bullets in his first year.
Lamar just driving into traffic and looking to be bailed out by the officials. A little bit of contact, but I think that the offense was causing that contact, so good call from where I'm sitting.
Siva. Pass off the pick and roll. It's going to result in more free throws for Yanni Wetzel. Tyrell Harrison has 3 fouls, so the Bullets have been forced to go to Jack Salt who's played 2 minutes a game. Played 2 minutes 36 in round 1, Liam, and we haven't seen him since in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
And big Kiwi going up against the team he would have grown up supporting, Jack Salt. First season in the NBL, of course, NCAA champion.
Yes. Wouldn't say he had a huge role in that championship team, but was very much got some minutes and banged away and was that physical presence, and that's what they're trying to get out of him here. Would have been in the league a season or two ago, but injury really prevented him from making his NBL debut earlier.
He's had an awful run with knee injuries and glandular fever along the way as well. It's good to see him in the league, first and foremost. Sobey to get himself back to the free throw line, having a big influence in this second quarter.
Well, this is good to see for Bullets fans. Sobey in this kind of aggressive mindset. And these are the issues we've spoken about the Breakers have had throughout the season. Just made himself known to the Lakers fan there in the front row. Their ability to keep the ball out of the painted area. Just sit down and stay in front of a guy who's got the rock. And Nathan Sobey taking advantage of those issues right now.
And Sobey, because of his improved three-point shooting throughout the course of his career, he does become so hard, because you see right on that action there, and probably 4 years ago you might say, well, let's just hedge, let's just not get too tight on him, encourage him, hey, we'll make him hit a few threes before we really close out. But Seaver just looked like he was nailed to the floor on that one, and very easy blow by.
Patterson comes out for Brisbane. Kadee back in. Franks, Kadee, Digba, Sobey, Salt out there for the Bullets. Seaver. Pass was a bit too hot for Wetzel. Turnover New Zealand.
Well, that's their first turnover of the game, which is one that you never like, but you live with it when you've only had one in a quarter and a bit of basketball. At the other end, Brisbane Bullets have been forced into 7 of them.
Sobey thought he was fouled. Last touch by New Zealand. James Duncan on the sidelines for Brisbane. He's just desperate for a foul to be called the Bullets' way.
Well, I like the fact that Martin was up and in and putting pressure on the ball, and Sobey thinks it probably was worthy of a foul as well, but both with him and Seaver. Seaver's picked up a couple, just being up and in the lanes, putting ball pressure on, and that can be infectious. There you see again, Delaney right up tight.
Digba trying to tip it in. Robert Franks wrestles back control for the Bullets. Sobey will get another look at it with space. Not that time. Rebound, Yanni Wetzel. McDowell White, only 2 points in the game so far. Still pass over his shoulder to Wetzel from the elbow.
And to me, there's been a big difference in the way in which they're getting the ball through hands. Early on, first 7 minutes, New Zealand really prepared to whip it around side to side. Now becoming a lot more terminal, and as such, their opportunities and field goal percentages are starting to drop. That's a cheap one in transition for Delaney. Gee, Delaney's done some heavy lifting for this team so far this season. 38 minutes a game.
In that Boxing Day game against Tasmania, Liam, Finn Delaney was 3 of 13. He looked tired. Maybe with the challenges that we've had with the schedule and whatnot, for a guy like Finn Delaney, maybe the freshen up's a good thing.
Maybe. Yeah, numbers slightly down from last season. Career year last year, all NBL second team. Percentage is a little down as scoring's down 3 points per game. But you're right, he's such an important part of this New Zealand Breakers roster.
Seaver comes up with the steal. There's Delaney running the floor. Good hands, Kadee. The Breakers ball from the baseline. 19 on the shot clock.
You never know, like to go old school, but you think back to Derek Rucker when he's playing 47 minutes a game, 46 minutes a game on back-to-back, like genuine back-to-backs. None of this will have a day off between game business. Back-to-back, and getting angry when you come out and you've only played 45 minutes.
Who are we to argue, Liam?
Oh, I love it how he puts it on Ruck as the big minutes.
Yeah.
God.
Well, he was as well. on those early ones.
How's that for a dime? Martin for Wetzel. Derek, do you agree with the GOAT?
Oh, yeah. I did not want to come out. If I ever saw Andrew going out of the game when we played against him, I would have been shocked. And there was no way you would get, I mean, really, I would get in arguments if the coach tried to pull me out of the game. Now, Copes was right there with you, Drewy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Copes played a lot of minutes, too. And the only difference on those back-to-backs was Copes was actually going out the night between. I said it, Copes.
No, that's not.
That's not true, Drewy?
Well, he had a way of getting himself ready for
Oh,
games.
here we go. Here we go.
That's what he did, but whatever works, D-Ruck, whatever works.
I hear you.
Shout out to Copes, as we've got a coach's challenge.
Gee, Copes cops a little drive-by.
But that's a fair statement, though, isn't it?
Hey, let me tell you, D-Ruck was right there with him.
I could believe that.
We got a coach's challenge here, but I tell you, one of the all-time great debut seasons was that D-Ruck, Andre Moore.
1990, yeah.
He was a superstar and continued on a long, long career. So it's great to have hearing his words of wisdom throughout the course of the game.
Three-time All-NBL first team. Now let's take a look at the coach's challenge. These are some of the angles you're seeing that the replay centre.
It's on the out of bounds
right now, yeah.
Now, if you need to be 100% correct that this is going to happen because it's very early on, and it looked to me like it came off Deng Deng. So, oh no,
is that Seaver's hand?
It came off Seaver. I thought it might have been the knee of Deng Deng, but looked like Seaver just stripped the ball.
Liam.
Shamir challenge. He's down the other end of the floor.
Down the other end of the floor. You're right. It doesn't have a great view of it from down there. And there's Seaver's left hand get involved.
Oh, just Deng Deng.
Just the fingertips of Deng Deng's right hand.
Now, God love Dan Shamir, but there's no way that he saw that was perhaps Deng Deng's pinky. It just happened to.
The only thing I can think of, Drew, is whether Peyton Seaver or Yanni Wetzel were adamant that it wasn't them that touched it last, maybe. Otherwise, Dan Shamir's got the best vision in Australia.
Coach's challenge is successful. The call's overturned. We've got a white ball.
There you go.
Well, there you
New
go.
Zealand
That's
keep
called
their
vision.
time out and
That's called luck.
That is called vision.
That is called luck.
From the Israeli.
No, that's luck.
I don't have the motion, we're just called. That's for fair. That's fair.
Let's get to John Guana.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if we could give that credit to Coach Dan Shamir. It was the captain, Finn Delaney, calling for that review. He had a pretty good angle of it. He was a little bit on the baseline, just elevated a bit. Told his coach, go to the review, and they are successful.
There you go, it worked. Well done, Finn.
So he keeps his time out and keeps his challenge.
Deng Deng at the top of the key. Brisbane had made some inroads into that quarter-time deficit of 13, but it's back to a double-figure margin. Nice move from Salt. We know what he's capable of. We know his pedigree. His body's just not let him get there in the last 4 years.
And good recognition. They got the mismatch, and they throw it in low to him and made that one real easy.
Martin trying to draw the foul on Khadib. Does that.
So we see a bit of a difference, sorry Liam, in the two teams where New Zealand very happy to run the switching on that on-ball screens, whereas down the other end they're trying to get more into a drop situation and not switch as much.
Seaver in his return game today, 2 of 4 from the field. That's a nice pass, cross-court for Will McDowell-White.
Really nice pass. Left hand whip pass, put it right in the shot pocket. And Will McDowell-White's improvement from three-point territory this season has been sensational, shooting over 40% from long range this year.
It's almost coughed that one up. 9th in the competition, 3 points made, Will McDowell-White. I'm not sure we would have said that 12 months ago.
No, last year, sub 30%. And as Drewy says when he talks about Nathan Sobey, it makes you a little easier to guard when you don't have to respect you out there. And Will McDowell-White, the work he's done over the off-season, he's come out, he's shooting almost 45% from 3 on a high volume. to begin this year, and as a result, making things much trickier for the defense.
Tough look for Deng Deng. Offensive rebound, Salt. He's bringing something to the table this afternoon.
Well, against the numbers too, just outworked, used his size, gets a little deflection to get it back, and then goes up strong and goes to the free throw line. But you look down low, he's surrounded by breakers, but gets the bounce, sticks with the play, and goes to the free throw line.
25 years of age. Spent last season with the Canterbury Rams in the NZNBL, but as we spoke about, those knee issues that have plagued Jack Salt's career so far. He's the first New Zealander to win an NCAA title.
Oh dear. Wasn't instilled with great confidence with that release. Just, if you watch the left hand when he shoots it, the snapping of the wrist is not there. Just lets it fly, knuckleballs it, and it's not great follow-through technique. And the shot doctor, Derek Rucker, can maybe give us a breakdown on it, because Derek does it for a living now with a lot of the young people out there teaching him how to do it, and that didn't look good, D-Ruck.
Nathan Sobey sitting down. 10 points on 3 of 6 shooting. He's been selective with his field goal attempts in this first half, but that 50% clip tells you everything you need to know. Patterson had the seal on Jeng, lost the handle.
It was an opportunity missed. Look at the frustration there for Patterson, because we saw it earlier. He had Dieng in the block, overpowered in three-point play opportunity, and saw another chance to go right back to the well.
Well, what I've seen of Dieng so far, and he's a work in progress young fella, but he must not let people catch it in that block, because he's looked all out of sorts when he's trying to guard people on the low post.
Offensive rebound, Timmins. Now Besson. We know he's good from that spot, from any spot beyond the arc, in fact. 35% three-point shooter across the season, the 20-year-old Frenchman.
I don't know if you heard it in the background there, but James Duncan wants to get Lamar out of the game. I think he's upset at what happened here. I don't know. That's just... Well, when it's Besson, now I know he's 0 of 10 in his last 2, but you know what he's capable of. You've got to close out a whole lot harder, and he's not happy. He was there, but just not quite the intensity that James Duncan wanted, I guess.
Sobey, aggressive. Nice little throw up for Salt. Points are going to count. Salt's having an influence.
Beautifully timed, lofted pass there from Nathan Sobey as he attacks the rim, draws the help defense from Sam Timmins, and so he knows Jack Salt's open on the weak side, puts it up for the big fella, and he makes it count.
Thank you.
Just had to wipe the floor after that play. 2:48 to play before half-time. The lead was 13 for New Zealand at quarter time. It's 12 at the moment, but we have seen with the Breakers this year that they have had leads.
Massive leads.
At quarter time. 13 against Adelaide and lost. 13 against Illawarra and lost. They've been in this situation before and haven't been able to close out. Delaney for 3.
Well, the big thing about this one, when you've got 2.5 to go and you've held a team to only 28 points, that's what they'd be most pleased with.
Drimic has a fumble. He was wide open otherwise, forced into a tougher look for 3. Salt used his body, got rid of Jeng, adds in 2 more.
He's given him a spark, Jack Salt, just with his energy and his activity around the rim, getting second chance opportunities and keeping the Bullets alive.
6 points, 3 rebounds for Jack Salt. It's a way to play yourself into the lineup. Jeng rattles out. Delaney, O-board. Couldn't put it back in. Drimic was there. Frank's with him. They made life difficult. Then Sobey gets the 3 up. Well short.
Somehow or other, they've got to find a way to get Franks involved. He's 0 of 5 from the field. He has yet to score in the contest. He's played the 16 minutes. Hasn't had too many real clean looks.
Besson off balance. Sloppy from New Zealand. This trip down the floor. Jen got a fingertip on it. Kept it alive. McDowell-White steps into the 3 ball. There's Jing on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
We want to see more of that from the next up.
Well, we do, but it's just the level of urgency we're seeing from the Brisbane Bullets on the defensive end that time there. Just not really ferocious enough at trying to get that second shot. Full credit for Dieng to be in the right place at the right time.
And offensive rebounding, Liam, not something the Breakers are known for this season. They're last in the competition for O boards.
And yet the Bullets giving him opportunities at second chances in this first half. And what I find interesting about this is really our first chance this season to see a team who has had COVID struggles in recent weeks. See what they look like when they return to play, because we know it's not going to be easy, especially in a situation like this where it's run right through the team. And these signs in this first half, this team has looked like a squad that's had those kind of issues. They've been fumbling the ball and losing it out of bounds. They've been a step slow defensively, and their effort around the rim hasn't quite been there. And Robert Franks, he hasn't just looked like himself at all in this first half. As you say, Drew, 0-5, hasn't found a way to get involved. So it's interesting because we've got a bunch of teams around the league. Illawarra's going to be in that same boat when they step out next round. A few others that are going to have this type of situation. And thus far, the Bullets, they haven't been able to find the energy.
Good news for Hoops fans. We're scheduled to be getting underway again on Thursday for round 7. Illawarra and Sydney. Brisson short on the 3. As we spoke about right off the top today, we feel like we're through the worst of it as a league. Spoke to NBL officials this morning, and that's the general feeling within head office, is we may have seen the worst of it now. 2 more for Salt.
Well, this is Salt's best showing so far in his very short NBL career. He's been in the right, getting himself in the right positions to be rewarded. And a couple of times we've seen those drop-off passes go his way, and he's been able to knock them down, and they need them. They need those cheap ones because they're shooting it at 36%, 2 of 13 from the three-point line, so not being able to find it from the three-point line.
Watch the press break. I want you to be here with Peyton with the ball and everybody open, okay? Just to see if they are trapping or whatever. And then it's going to be Usman over here and Will over here, okay? And Hugo over here. Hugo, come from the middle to set the ghost and go. Usman, you drop to the corner. Will, let's put you here, okay? Let's put you here. And Usman, you're going to be over here. So Hugo is coming for the ghost, like horns. You're coming from the corner. You're going in 10 seconds. You ghost and you go. Will, you're going to be in the corner. Okay, nothing happens from it. Nothing happens, then bring the shake screen from here. Okay, shake screen and you stay in the corner. Yes, bring it, come here to set the screen and dive. Okay, if nothing happens. 2 good goes, you stay in the corner. Corner, fin corner. Corner for the kick out.
45-34, final minute.
This will be fun watching the Breakers execute that play that Dan Shamir just drew up. And if you're not sure about the terminologies, you hear Dan Shamir, I love the way he says Hugo, by the way. Hugo, you come up here. And he talks about the ghost. He says, you come and ghost it. Watch Hugo Besson this play. When he talks about the ghost screen, he wants Besson to come up, make like he's going to set a screen, but slip out of it early. Won't make contact with the defense. Just a little misdirection, aimed to confuse the defense and try to get them out of position. So watch Besson and the way he ghosts this ball screen, this possession.
And a ghost, when you're doing a ghost screen like that, it's good if you've got someone that can shoot it, because with what they're doing, they're playing in their drops action and they're not switching. So you're staying off the ball. So when you slip out of it, most of the times you're going to be free. It's a way to create a good scoring option from it. So recognise something and they'll go to it and see if they can execute it.
Dan Shamir, 6 wins and 3 losses against the Brisbane Bullets. It's the most of any team in Dan's 3 years in the competition that he's won against. 6 versus the Bullets. James Duncan, on the other hand, first season in the NBL. We've seen Some really good performances from Brisbane, Liam, but we've seen a couple that they lost to Perth in round 3 by double figures. That was a bit of a crash back to reality. Now with the break that they've had, they haven't played since December 19. How much of that early season form is relevant now?
Oh, I think so. It gave us a window into what this team can be. Yeah, they didn't bring it in that opening game down in Tassie. Got done in overtime. Got to win in the jungle, always hard to do in double OT. Hard to beat Perth twice in a row in Western Australia. And then they come home, they take care of the Hawks. So I think we've seen some really good signs from this Brisbane team. And yeah, it's going to be difficult coming back from what they've been through in recent weeks. But they've got potential to be genuine playoff contenders.
Well, isn't it funny how for the start of the season, a lot of people, I don't know if you were in that wagon as well, Liam, that were just not all that high on what Brisbane were putting together. And a couple of good players. You see Patterson comes back and he's in better shape, and you pick up a star in Franks and it can really change the whole perception of a group. It only takes 1 or 2 players when you've got those solid pieces around them to have a profound influence. But gee, anytime you've got a lethal combination of Sobey, Patterson and Franks, that's some real good offensive threats to work with.
We had some blood on the court, so just need to make sure that we're following protocols and we're right to go again. New Zealand would love to take this lead and then some into half-time. There's Besson ghosting, as you spoke about, Liam.
They switched it.
Seaver had his 3-ball blocked by Sobey. Still plenty of time here for the Brisbane Bullets. Patterson wants to take on that responsibility. Got past Seaver, misses the layup. Drimic puts it back in. The Bullets score on the stroke of half-time. 45-36 at the main break.
It is, and it's a great finish for the Bullets. Really struggled to find a way to put points on the board, but you just start to see things open up a little bit in those last few minutes. They get it back into range, and for a New Zealand team that have been down this path many times, it's what's going on between their ears is going to be a big part of what happens in the second half.
45-36. Let's get courtside to John Guana.
I've got Breakers big man Yanni Wetzel. Yanni, you're going into the half in the lead. What was the difference between previous games and tonight to take the lead into the halftime?
Yeah, I mean, we're the worst defensive team in the league by a serious amount. So we're leaps and bounds behind where we need to be. We're lucky we've had 2 weeks to work on our defense. That side of the ball, different coverages. So that's been our focal point as of recent, and it's good to see it come to fruition on the court.
How are the legs? How's everyone feeling after those 2 weeks off, after that tough first half?
Yeah, refreshed. We were lucky to only have a couple guys in COVID versus other teams who have had, 8, 9, 10 guys. So we've had most of the guys at training. It's been awesome to really work on what we need to work on, come out here and put it on the show.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Breakers find themselves in a winning position at half-time, but as we know with New Zealand, it's their issues in second halves that have been causing them some problems. 45-36, the one game of round 6. We're going to come back on the other side of this and pull it all apart. You're watching Sunday Hoops and the Hungry Jacks NBL. Great to have you with us. Sunday Hoops from the Hungry Jacks NBL. The Brisbane Bullets trailing at the half 36-45 on their home court at Nissan Arena. Their first game since December 19 because of COVID, and they've looked a little flat at times, but that's taking nothing away from the New Zealand Breakers. Liam Santamaria and Andrew Gage joining me this afternoon.
Spot on. I really like the way the Breakers came out on this one. You could tell, but just by body language, the aggressive nature about it, and they got their reward on the offensive end, particularly in that first quarter. They still ended up shooting it at 46% from the field, and on defence, as we see Nathan Sobey just introducing himself to some of the fans in a very intimate way. New Zealand, I think, given that they started the season 0-6, had a lot of issues with some of the playing group, but they've been able to figure it out, and Wetzel has been a shining light. 15 points, 5 boards. He's been a huge target down low, and Finn Delaney has chipped away for his 7 down the other end of the floor. Salt, who would have thought that we'd be talking at halftime that Jack Salt would be featured as their second leading scorer? We look at the percentages, and the percentages aren't great for the Brisbane Bullets. 2 of 13 from the three-point line. We saw when they shoot it well from the three-point line, their 2 wins, they've shot it well from there. And the turnovers, the other thing, you don't see it on your screen right there, but they've had 11 turnovers in that first half. And a lot of credit for those 11 turnovers goes to the New Zealand Breakers. They've been up and in, getting hands on balls, getting some deflections. So they've earned those 11 turnovers.
One of the biggest signings in the off-season in the Hungry Jacks NBL was Yanni Wetzel returning to New Zealand to play for the Breakers. It's performances like this first half that make his signing so crucial.
Great pickup and a great first half from the big Kiwi. I like his patience in the block. He's gone at that match-up with Robert Franks down low when the Bullets have gone small ball. We know he can sprint that middle lane, get up ahead of the defence, and just the strength, the power he's shown down low. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 of 9 from the field. He's also made a count from the free throw line, 5 of 7. And look, you can see getting all that work done right at home base in the middle of the painted area. So a really good first half from Yanni Wetzel. And the bigs for Brisbane, Tyrell Harrison, Robert Franks, they're going to need to bounce back in this second half because neither of those guys had a big impact in that first term.
3 fouls for Tyrell Harrison. Jack Salt's input's been really, really good. We haven't seen a lot of Big Shoe Xing Lu. Is this the biggest weaker point for the Brisbane Bullets? Is this where teams might potentially be able to get them if they've got a big, strong, dominant 5-man like Wetzel?
Well, perhaps we've seen it down the other end, and leaving Wetzel's getting to that level where you look at his level of play where if you leave anyone with him on a one-on-one situation, he's got enough shake and bake, he's got enough moves that he's going to be a handful. So I think that it goes beyond just that for the Brisbane Bullets. It's an area where you look at them and you could say, well, yeah, perhaps there is some areas where they can improve on, but you could say that in certain categories about most teams. And I think there's enough there for the Brisbane Bullets that they should be able to figure out a way strategically to be able to do a better job on Wetzel. But it's down the other end of the floor as well. They've looked very passive on the offensive end, too many turnovers and just not shooting the ball that well.
Their shining light has been Nathan Sobey. Gee, if we had $1 for every time we've said that in the last 3 years about Nathan Sobey and the Brisbane Bullets, but in the second quarter, he started to lift. He's got himself up to 10 points on 3 of 7, and it's not just about the 3-ball for Sobey today.
Yeah, showed a bit, didn't he, Sobey, and helped tick the scoreboard over. 10 points. He's 1 of 5 from 3. He hasn't been a highly efficient first half, but he's looked really good when he's got on the front foot, put the ball on the deck and snaked his way to the basket. So they need more of that from Sobey in the second half, but they need more from Patterson and Franks as well. A combined 1 of 11 from the field from those 2 imports.
Well, as we head to the break, it's New Zealand who lead 45-36 on Sunday Hoops, and you too can play like a pro thanks to Bunnings Warehouse, who are giving you the chance to win your very own court at home. All you need to do is enter now at win.nbl.com.au/Bunnings.
I was out there every day, so I think if I had a full court, you wouldn't get me inside.
Most of the games I played on the lower hoop, just to show my supreme athleticism.
I only worked on shooting, which is why that's really all I can do.
When you're 8 years old or 10 years old, it's the best thing in the world.
I had a basketball hoop and a little trampoline. I used to play back there for hours with my brother and get beat up a lot, but it was a lot of fun in the meantime.
I hope that one day when I grow up, I'll be able to give my kids a court at home as well.
That's where I lost a lot of games to my brother at.
Started at this height and every
year I got older, it moved higher and higher until I got to 10 foot, and I'm doing the same with my kids back at home.
My dad built one, so I had a little bit of like a half court going on, and that made my life the best, so I could never complain as a kid.
And that was kind of like our sanctuary, our getaway from everything.
Just about ready to get underway for the third quarter on Sunday. Hoops, the New Zealand Breakers searching for their first win of the Hungry Jacks NBL season. Lead at half-time, 45-36. Worth keeping in mind, though, for the Breakers, this is not the first time they've been in this sort of winning position at the half, Liam. They are minus 57 in second halves this season.
That's not a good number. And, of course, that game in Adelaide is the one that most comes to mind, where they had it in control at half-time. So need a big second half to try and get off the mark in the only game in round 6. First time in NBL history we've had an entire round of the regular season with only one game. So they're under the big spotlight, the Breakers and the Bullets. Big chance for New Zealand to break through for their first dub.
But the good news, hopefully, it's the only round in NBL history that's like that. We're scheduled to start on Thursday, round 7, with Illawarra and Sydney games all the way through until Sunday evening. And at this stage, as we mentioned, there is light at the end of this really dark tunnel. And we're hoping at this stage to be able to bring a full round of matches for round 7 starting on Thursday. Seaver starting the second half in his return from injury. That's short. How have we seen Seaver's afternoon so far?
Solid. He's missed a fair bit of basketball, and a lot of scrutiny and eyes have been on him with some throughout the pre-season and the first couple of games. Underwhelming, the way I would have described his performances so far, but clearly he's really capable. But the thing that concerns me about this is Will McDowell-White has been a sensation, and how they incorporate Peyton Siva back into it and not take away from what they've been getting out of Will McDowell-White is going to be one of the big challenges they face.
How do the Breakers approach this, Liam? They've got Chasen Randall sitting on the bench today, not suiting up because he's the injury replacement for Peyton Siva. We only saw Randall in one game, but I mean, he's a highly credentialed player. How did New Zealand work their way through this?
Well, as Jeremiah Martin gets into the lane there and finishes over the top, I mean, it's a good situation to have if he's willing to stay around as a nominated replacement player, a little bit like what Sydney had a couple of seasons ago with Deshaun Taylor. Hung around and was ready to step in if any of those imports wasn't ready to go. So Franks, they needed that, the Bullets.
Well, you say that, Liam, and it really comes down to the players that they have, because if you're looking over your shoulder and feeling like every single game you're facing the chop because you've got someone sitting there on the sidelines to step back in, that can have a detrimental effect as well. But no, it comes down to the personalities as Basson splashes one from the three-point line.
News Corp's Matt Logue had written that Peyton Siva's papers were virtually stamped, and then he got injured, so perhaps that was a change of tack for New Zealand. They force a turnover here. Martin with an easy two, and this quarter hasn't even been going 2 minutes. Breakers have scored 5 on the bounce, and James Duncan has seen more than enough.
Well, he's seen more than enough because he's all ready to start this one. They had 11 turnovers at the half, and they've already coughed it up twice already.
Let's get courtside to John Guana.
Yeah, guys, I listened to Coach Duncan talk to his team at halftime. He said, guys, New Zealand's desperate. We have to play desperate as well. Let's get some stops on the defensive end and let's get out in transition. But it all starts on the defensive end. And I guarantee you that's what he's talking to his team about right now in this timeout.
And that's a great start for New Zealand. And down here on this bench, I've been observing Matt Walsh, Breakers owner. He is really hands-on down here, guys. At the end of the second quarter, he was signaling for Peyton Siva to get back in the game. And I'm curious, guys, I know, Drew, you mentioned how it feels when you've got another player looking over your shoulder from the bench. What's it like when the owner is applying not hard pressure, but you know there's a feeling there that the owner wants things one way or the other? Wow. That must be interesting, too, in terms of the dynamic it creates.
Yeah, I think that's a really difficult situation if you're a head coach. And if you've got the owner on the sideline wanting to be a coach, hey, sack the coach and put yourself in. But you can't be putting pressure on a coach to get players in and out of games during the course of game. To me, that's a sign of a dysfunctional organisation.
Speaking of dysfunctional, the way that Brisbane are looking after the basketball is exactly that right now. Out of the timeout, James Duncan draws something up and they give it straight back.
Oh, all kinds of frustration. They lose the matchups in defensive transition. Basson gets wide open on the arc, and then 3 turnovers inside the first 2 minutes to begin this second half.
Wetzel took it to the rack and Harrison followed him.
I find that extraordinary what Derek's just told us, that the owner would be there signalling to the coach about who he wants to get in. That is, I mean, maybe I'm not questioning Derek, but that to me almost seems plausible. You can't.
Well, it makes it tough, doesn't it? Because you can't say no. The owner telling you to put a guy out there. And it's interesting because Dan Shamir and Modi Mayor, they got contract extensions during that last off-season. They're contracted through to the end of the 2023-24 season as the head coach and the associate head coach of this Breakers team.
And Derek, I think he's still with us. Derek, I mean, could you have possibly seen it wrong? Because that seems extraordinary.
No, I saw that he signaled to the assistant coach when Peyton Siva was here. He's like, get him back in the game. And Siva went back in, and that was the play when Siva got his shot blocked by Sobey on the wing there. And it's just interesting. You wonder what it creates in the player's head. Does the player feel angst? Does the player feel like, oh, I need to do this. I need to make a play to prove the owner right? There's just so many variables and layers to that type of a scenario, guys.
It's 52-39. The owner would have to be happy with what he's seen from his men today. 2 more for Wetzel. any issues about second halves so far this Hungry Jacks NBL season. Not today. Harrison doubled up. He's fouled by Delaney.
Well, the energy's there at the defensive end. It's there, starting with the head coach. He's up and about, talking. The defense is in front of their own home bench.
And great recognition too, Glenn, because you saw the switch. They switch everything, and there was a mismatch there, and straight away, without hesitation, Finn Delaney goes in and doubles it up, and gets a deflection, and they can reset.
Where is this spark going to come from a Bullets perspective? They double Sobey, get the ball out of his hands. Franks was free for three. Seaver with options up ahead. Chooses Martin. Krebs went up with him and blocks him. Jeremiah Martin, 5th in the competition for assists per game. First season as a breaker, first season in the league. 25-year-old out of Memphis. Delaney off the inbound is deep. Last 7 points in this game have been all New Zealand. Franks pulls up, no good.
Well, he's just taking matters into his own hands. He was 0-5 at halftime. He hit his first three, but he's already taken 3 3-point field goal attempts. Trying to get himself going.
That'll be 4 on Terrell Harrison.
And that's an example of what Peyton Seaver does. That's what would be expected from him as he's come into the league. And just in transition there, Yanni Wetzel slaps on the early ball screen. Seaver works his way into the lane. Just nothing spectacular about it, nothing fancy, but good timing on the drop-off. Wetzel gets to the strike.
Six of 8 from the line today, Yanni Wetzel, 76% free throw shooter across the season. What? New Zealand shooting the ball at 45% from the floor today. Wetzel makes the second. 35% from outside the arc, which has been a big stat for them, Liam. They've shot the three ball at 27% across this season, New Zealand. That'll be a foul on Martin. Nathan Sobey not too happy there.
Okay. And here's the time, if I'm New Zealand, I don't want to engage in any of this. Just let sleeping dogs lie. Brisbane haven't really shown that spark, and sometimes a little bit of argy-bargy, you get them involved and you can flick the switch and can create some momentum, not just with the team, but with the fans, and the whole game can change. And here he is there, just a little bit of how you going.
Jeff. Has 10 points, Sobey. The only player in double figures for Brisbane. The next leading scorer after that is Salt with 8. Too many steps that time, the big man.
Good job from Hugo Besson. Just being there as the help man. That help we talked about at that one point in the first half wasn't quite there on that Jason Kadee drive, and hasn't been there in the first part of the season. Yanni Wetzel spoke about it as he walked off at halftime. We're a long way from where we want to be defensively. That was a nice slide across defensively from Besson to force the turnover.
Martin himself now travels.
We've called the foul, just let it here. Don't shoot the ball after we've made a call.
15-4 is the turnover count. 15 to the Brisbane Bullets, and a significant part of this 17-point lead is you can directly relate to those turnovers.
Sobey guarded by Delaney, pulls up for 3 in the corner. Tough look. There's Franks on the offensive glass. Has 5 points, and very quickly Brisbane are going to get it back. Drimic steps in and takes the charge.
Well, maybe this is the spark that the Bullets need. There's been a bit of a strange tempo to them all day as they've returned to play this afternoon, and
That's tough when you're Martin.
Got the fortunate whistle there, Drimmick, but it's a play that gets the crowd involved. Score from Franks down low. As Drew says, a little argy-bargy involved. It wakes the crowd up a touch. And now the Bullets, 15 points in arrears. Can they start to build some momentum?
They average 96 points a game when they win, Brisbane. They average 72 when they lose. Big disparity between their best and their worst. 3 balls short from Sobey. Besson has 10 points, has 12 points.
It's a nice touch. Beautiful touch from Besson on the floater.
Well, that's what he needs to bring to his game. We know he can shoot it from the three-point line. He's going to make that next step. He's got to be able to bring that versatility.
Krebs got the 3 ball away. His first points of the afternoon. He still cannot get this lead. This margin, I should say, back inside single figures. That's going to help their cause. New Zealand, give it up.
It was a good find down the other end from Jack Salt. Had that open man in the corner, switched it to his left hand and got it there. And Krebs hasn't shown it in his short time in the NBL thus far, but he can really stroke it. At St Mary's, was a real knockdown shooter during his collegiate years. Good poise there to drill it from the corner.
Sobey, aggressive, draws a foul. Fouls on Wetzel, his 3rd of the game.
Here we go, guys.
Nathan Sobey gets himself on the free throw line.
I understand your question. When you have the ball, there is no time and distance. Time and distance when you're being guarded without the ball. He just has to be able to land, and he did.
Well, you could argue
he has to expect to be
on
guarded.
that charge on Martin whether there was time and distance because he didn't have the ball. He caught it, turned around and seeing the distance about when the time and distance applies.
Well,
they had the challenge.
That's true, but based on the evidence we've seen so far this season, those ones when you're talking about time and distance in the backcourt hasn't always gone the way which you would think. The benefit of the doubt goes to the original decision.
It's travel. Down right in front of the officials. 5 points on 2 of 5. Hasn't been able to have the same influence today, Will McDowell-White. He's averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds and 4.5 assists a game across this Hungry Jacks NBL season. Today, a little quieter.
Well, his minutes are down as well in this one.
Patterson using his strength and scores over the top of McDowell-White.
It's just bully ball. They recognise it, and Lamar Patterson, that's what he's very good at. He uses his size well, gets in 2 feet inside the paint, a little drop step, and shoots it over the smaller Will McDowell-White. There you see the switch, which they're doing on every on-ball screen, really pretty much through 1 through 5. They're switching every on-ball screen, and it creates those situations that if you switch, you have quick action on the rim, and you can take advantage of it because the help doesn't have time to get there. But Hugo Besson has been pretty good in this one after a 0 of 10 from the three-point line the last couple of games. But movement without the ball, that's what we're talking about. They're going to lock and trail, try and take away the 3 ball. And today or this afternoon, he's been able to put it to the floor. But when he gets his feet set and he can catch and shoot, as we see on those last 2, that he is very efficient from the three-point line.
He's got some skills. 20 years of age, he led the French League 2nd division in scoring last season, Liam, and he's part of all of the ESPN projections for the 2022 NBA draft.
No, he's a real talent. He's used this first part of this NBL season to definitely improve his stocks. And nice to see him bounce back from a couple of single-digit scoring games. He's got 12, sweet, midway through this 3rd quarter, and that's the man right there, Sobey. Just start to get the feeling that he's trying to put his imprint on proceedings. The Bullets, 6-zip scoring run. They've cut this margin to 11.
And with respect to the
French second division, this is a significant step up in talent and level of play than what you'll get at the second division level in France.
Which has made his start to the season that even more impressive.
Exactly.
He's a guy that's really made that transition effectively.
Shouldn't forget as well that he's playing as an import at 20 years of age. Ousmane Dieng, the next start for New Zealand. He's knocked out of play. Bullets can manage to blow that one up. They've scored the last 6. 3 minutes 43 before three-quarter time. Momentum just starting to turn the home team's way.
Active hands. Good hands from Patterson underneath. 4 seconds on the shot clock, and then hands there from Sobey knocks another second off that equation. The Breakers get a good look up. 3 seconds to play with.
Third quarter's not the Bullets' strong suit. Basson from a long way out. They're last in the competition, Brisbane, in third quarters. They average just 16 points a game. They'll need to be more productive to stay in this one today. Sobey cuts, catches, finishes.
Well, that's a beautiful example of a go screen that we were talking about earlier. They think the switch is coming, and it doesn't get there quick enough, and this big, quick dive to the rim. Easy 2 for Sobey.
Crowd lifting at Nissan Arena. Patterson threads the eye of the needle for Kadee.
Got away with a little trouble there. Kadee, the Bullets get it back, and here's what Drew's talking about. Watch the ghost screen from Sobey. Good play call from James Duncan. No help from Finn Delaney. Lob play, easy bucket at the rim for Sobey.
Usually in those situations, the rule is you shouldn't switch until the ball carrier puts the ball to the floor. But that time there, you think it's going to come, you take it for granted, you switch before it's even put to the floor. That's where that slip becomes a lot easier.
Tip in from Salt. He's brought some flavour to the Bullets today. 49-58.
Tasty, Jackie.
10-point run for the home team right now. The Breakers have gone a little cold in this third quarter. Jen can't finish from close range. And Timmins, with one arm being held, is fouled.
Well, it's great to see Jack Salt having a game like this, having a breakout performance. We came into the season in a little position battle with Big Lou, who was going to be the backup 5-man. And he's putting his hand up today to say, I could do with a little more run.
Let's get courtside to Derek Rucker.
Hey, guys, I think the Breakers are starting to hit that point of no return. They've got to stand tough here, because if the Bullets get within 1 or 2, I just think things will go downhill really quickly for the Breakers. The energy is kind of subsided here on the sidelines. They're trying to hang in there, but it's a critical 2 minutes as we close out this third quarter.
Well, we know their numbers in second halves, Derek. They're not great. They'll need to buck the trend to record their first win. Blocking foul on Delaney.
A flop that causes illegal contact is a foul. So it can't be a flop. Can't be both, correct. Thank you.
That was the explanation from Michael Allen. Dan Shamir asked him, why isn't that an offensive foul? And he said, because he flopped. A flop that creates illegal contact is a foul on the defense.
It's a foul.
Well, that's where the official's judgment comes in. Did he or didn't he flop? And there's contact clearly being made.
When he's going down before there's any contact, that's...
Well, that's what we saw, but in the real-life action, if you're a coach on the sideline where your objectivity may be slightly blurred...
We've already firmly established that Dan Shamir's court vision
is exceptional. Exceptional.
Maybe that's his superpower, Dan Shamir. That and being able to run up the sidelines really, really fast. Bullets back to within 8. The lead was as big as 14 earlier in this match. They've hung around. The first game since December 19. Jeng blocked by Sobey. Still working. Sobey still trying to make it hard for him. Dow White swoops on the loose ball. Sobey leaning in.
Yellow.
His whistle.
2, 20. Hold on the rip through.
can hear James Duncan on the sideline yelling out weak to his team when they're trying to execute defensively, and he's telling them to force the ball handler to their weak hand.
Which it's one of those ones you have conversations with your players about, because you give them the scouting report and you drill into them the tendencies of the players, and yelling out weak is relying on your players to know what is their weak hand. Whereas if you're just out there telling them left or right, in my judgment, that's easier to do than rather than yelling out and using the terminology of weak. But it's quite common these days that that's the terminology they'll use.
Patterson got back door and away from Delaney. He's got 8 points. 62-54 at Nissan Arena. Jiang, who started today for New Zealand. That's 11 starters in the season. Seaver gave up his 3 ball. Brisbane have dialed up their pressure defensively in the last few minutes.
Beautiful execution offensively as well. They run that same play that they ran for Sobey, and while everyone's focused on the ghost screen, back cut from Patterson. And this is, I mean, Drew knows all about this, where you run the same play, and because you beat them one way, now you beat them the next way. Let's see if they go back to it in the next few minutes.
Patterson for 3.
They are rolling now, the Bullets. 5-point ball game. Up and about in Brisbane.
The lead was 9 at the half. The Bullets have had a big third quarter. That's a lovely pass from Seaver. Finds Galloway underneath the bucket. It just breaks a bit of momentum that the Bullets had built. Patterson feeling good. That time, not so good.
Missed that one a long way. Well short, just rushed it, didn't need to. Still plenty of time left in the shot clock. And when you've got your guy hot, they've been so good at executing those plays out of their sets rather than just throw it to them and say, go to work. Why wouldn't you go back to some of the action that has been so successful?
Seaver got away from Drimming, put himself into the paint and scores. He's returned from a hamstring injury today. He's playing for his spot in this Breakers roster. He's lifting.
Well, he's having a huge impact. The Breakers have outscored the Bullets by 17 points during his minutes on the floor.
3 of 8 for his 8 points. Kadee late in the clock, banks it home. And that'll be enough for Brisbane. They're within striking distance now, 66-59. It's three-quarter time on Sunday Hoops in the Hungry Jacks NBL. third quarter from the Brisbane Bullets. They've got themselves back to within 7 on their home floor at Nissan Arena at 66-59. The Breakers, 0 wins from their 6 starts so far in the Hungry Jacks NBL. The Bullets in their first game in quite some time, looking to make it 3 wins to the winner of our Kmart gift card for today, Maria Fielding. Enjoys going to support the Bullets, and daughter Brianna, who's a silver Bullet as well, which is fantastic. Go Brisbane. That's exactly what they did in the third quarter, Liam. They went. Go Brisbane.
They got a couple of guys going too. We said Lamar Patterson, Robert Franks. Those guys need to get involved in the second half. Patterson's got 11 now. Franks adding to his tally right there. He's got 7. And all of a sudden, those 2 key guys just starting to get up and about.
It's only one play, but when you see that action, you need New Zealand there 0-6. You need a level of desperation that Franks just can't get that easy second shot put back.
Well, this is where we learn a bit about the Breakers, isn't it? Winless so far. How much do they want it? Wetzel certainly wants it.
And we saw that in the first half. It was a bucket waiting to happen.
Benjamin thought that was a foul. Did he? Confident of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he thought it was a foul.
Sobey on the attack. Doesn't get it to go.
He did get the whistle, however, which will infuriate Dan Shamir a little more. How about the play down the other end from Yanni Wetzel? He's just got great footwork in the block.
We saw how dominant that was throughout the first half, and we really didn't see too much of it in the third quarter.
He's given Franks the business in the block this afternoon with that single coverage.
Let's get courtside to John Guana.
Yeah, guys, Coach Duncan's been really consistent in his messaging throughout this entire game. He wants his team to be aggressive defensively and be aggressive getting to the rim. He doesn't want any hero shots. Felt like they took too many threes and too many quick threes in that third quarter, but they're just there. Got to stay focused on those little things, getting the rebounds, getting some stops, and looking to hurt them in transition.
Well, he only has to look at the stats, and he sees his team at 5 of 22 from the three-point line at 22%. So clearly the numbers indicate that they're better off having a look at attack on the rim or action around the rim.
Wetzel ran into a brick wall. Get in front. Just to kick it back out. Cadie's done a good job to deny Wetzel of the ball. It's meant that Martin has to tee up from mid-range.
Go 5. Push in the back. White ball.
Just a push. I think it's going to be a push on Wetzel on that rebounding attempt.
Go, keep our heads. We got plenty of time. Keep our heads.
Doesn't mean you can't shove him in the back. Keep our heads. It's still a foul. It's still a foul.
Jason Cadee not too pleased with that call. James Duncan saying keep our heads. Seaver used the screen of Wetzel, pulls up off the front of the eye. That'll be a foul. Dow White. Robert Franks 7 points on 3 of 10. Lamar Patterson has 11
Patterson
points.
defensively here? His matchup is Kyron Galloway. He's not guarding Kyron Galloway. He's just playing as a centre fieldman. Lamar Patterson ready to help there on the drive from Wetzel. Kyron Galloway not sure where to go to take advantage. There's Patterson again as the help man. And eventually the Bullets get the stop.
So the counter to that is, how does Galloway make himself useful?
He's got to go to the rim. Get ready to roam the baseline and punish that overhelp at the rim.
Maybe, and he's got to learn how to do that, and he needs to get better. But right now, I reckon you're seeing what's happening as Patterson goes to the line for the three-point play. But now's the time you go, hey, this is not the time to educate him. Finn Delaney, we're 0-6. Delaney, you're back in the game. We need more of a threat to try and open those things up. But you're right, Patterson was just zoning off, and there you see down the other end, didn't look like Galloway did a whole lot wrong from that angle. Maybe a little push.
Could make the extra. Breakers lead it by 4. The biggest lead in the game was 14. Brisbane had a third quarter that they'd be really, really pleased with. Got themselves back in the game. Shot clock down to 3. Wetzel bodies in on Franks and gets it to roll home.
Really tough. They're going to it, and I like it. They've found something that's where they have an advantage. Keep milking it. And like we talked about before, the minute they start to make some adjustments, then you find the penalties for those adjustments, but you continue to play through him.
Seaver, 8 points on 3 of 9. It's been a good showing in his return from injury. Galloway has sat off, and that three's not going to go.
Well, that time it was Sobey on the cross match, and he guarded Galloway exactly the same way.
Points are going to count.
Basket interference, was it, Jack? Looked like he got away with a little travel on this play. 1, 2, 3. Well, it's a travel, as I understand the travel rule, but these days with gather steps and all the other new rules that come in, I might be a little old school.
Well, I think you count. You know how to count.
Well, was it a gather step? Well, you know, you can look a little.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he's always known what the number 3 was. Never been an issue there. It's on Drimmick.
Pretty sure in most leagues.
Krebs, I should say, sorry.
Maybe the exception in the NBA. That's a travel.
Speaking of the NBA, well, we've got a break in play. A little shout out to Kiefer Sykes.
So good.
Going
Guaranteed contract
for the rest of this NBA season, which is fantastic.
Dan Shamir's made that adjustment, brought Galloway out, reinserted Finn Delaney as he called for Drewy.
Martin pulls up.
Why aren't you just going back to Wetzel?
Bullets go down low to Patterson. Good D, Delaney. That'll be a travel.
You let it go when you grab it. You let it go when you grab it.
Lamar Patterson's making the argument that it got hit out of his hand, not that he let it go. Let's have a look.
I think he's got a point. He got hit out of his hand, hit the deck.
Certainly does have a point.
So we've ticked down to 6 minutes remaining in this one at Nissan Arena. Martin steps through multiple Brisbane defenders and scores.
He's so hard to keep out of the lane, Jeremiah Martin.
72-66. The Breakers steadying the ship in this last quarter.
It was 2 weeks ago that they last played New Zealand, but he was huge in the second half down in Tassie, doing just that, getting into the lane. The Jack Jumpers couldn't keep him out of there. 24 points, I think 8 assists, something along those lines. Big game, and they need that kind of impact from him right now as they try to hold this lead.
Gee, this is a really, given this stage of the game, this combination for Brisbane on the floor, I don't think we've seen it the entire game. They take Franks out. Digbo comes back in. He's hardly played in this one.
Smaller lineup too. Digbert, Patterson, Krebs, Sobey and Terrell Harrison, who's playing with 4 fouls. We've only seen Terrell Harrison for 10 minutes because of foul trouble this afternoon.
And they're right there, only 6 points, and throwing it out there and really providing a different look now for New Zealand.
Martin hands off to Wetzel. Yanni lays it up for 2 more.
There it is again. Jeremiah Martin and his playmaking on display. A big stage of the game.
Yanni Wetzel last season had 4 20-point games for the Phoenix in 39 games. This season, in the 5 games that he's played, he's had 4 20-point games. It's Harrison. Six-point lead to the Breakers. Everything running through Jeremiah Martin in these last few offensive sets. That playmaking ability that Liam spoke about, this time takes the responsibility himself.
They're getting deep on those penetrations, real deep. It's either the drop-off pass or that time just finishing it around the rim.
Martin has 8 points to go with his 6 assists. Call for the foul that time. We see Anthony Drimmick and Robert Franks getting set to check back in.
Franks is coming in, but he's taken out Patterson. Krebs has been having trouble guarding Jeremiah Martin, Anthony Drimmick.
I think it's just they're just trying to
placing him
a real quick rest, because we saw Franks, what was he off for? Playing 2 plays maybe at the most, just a real quick rest. Underneath, out of bounds, comes through with a layup. There's a defensive breakdown.
Back to 6. James Duncan showing some faith in his next star, Tom Digbo. Getting some minutes late in the game. Martin into the paint, tough finish. Jeremiah Martin taking over in the 4th quarter.
That is tough. Franks pull up. Oh my goodness. Robert Franks.
They might get the ball back here. I think it's going to be a foul on the defense as well after the release the hand. So there we see the 3 ball, and that is just an acting job by Drimmick that pays off, because potentially a 6-point play coming up if they don't knock down a 3 here. Deep breaths. Calm down.
Woosa.
He was the rebound.
Well, they're in the bonus, so Drimmick's going to go to the line, potentially a 5-point play. Now, the difficulty there is there was contact. You see Basson, he did have his hands in the back, but it was just exaggerating that rebounding contest when the ball's made. When the ball actually goes in, was it that ferocious a foul that you should call that? Because it didn't take him out of the rebounding contest, because the ball went in.
No.
So
could easily
to me, that's just play on.
Huge play. Now Drimmick steps to the line, knocks down the first. Dan Shamir having a chat about it. Bubbles out the second. 4-point game.
Wetzel. Hands off to Martin. He found Yanni underneath and draws contact.
He's just pulling all the strings offensively right now, Jeremiah Martin, and the Breakers doing a good job of playing through him. They've got other playmakers on the floor, Will McDowell-White, Hugo Besson, but everyone knows Martin is really getting it done.
Well, both teams pretty much doing the same at either end of the floor, just getting into that 1-4, 1-5 middle on balls and just creating, putting their hands in, ball in the hands of their guards to try and create something. Sobey at one end and Martin at the other, working on that middle on-ball screen.
Nathan coming in here.
26 points for Yanni Wetzel to go with 8 rebounds, make that 27.
And big free throws, only a 64% free throw shooter on his career, so steps up at a critical moment and knocks them, both of them down.
That lead back again at 6 points. The winless New Zealand Breakers, is today the day that they break through for their first win. Nathan Sobey not too happy.
Well, if he saw the other one that wasn't called, he probably has a reason to be a little upset. That was probably less obvious than the other one, but I think they both were travels.
Martin swings to Delaney. Tries to get in on Franks. To kick it back out. Shot clock down to 4. Martin hands off to Wetzel. Not that time. Harrison did enough defensively. Franks. 3! Big 3!
Couple of huge 3 balls from Franks. Late in this 4th quarter, keeping the Bullets within striking distance.
Well, he's 0-5 in the first half. He's 5 of 7 now in the second, and including 3 big threes.
Martin gets it back. They've just got no way of stopping him in this fourth quarter. He's having a say on everything.
Well, they're doing a good job of running him off a couple of screens into that middle long ball action. He's not the man handling it up the floor and nobody's touching it. He's playing off the ball, getting to the corner, then he's curling off a couple of staggered off-ball screens. And as he turns that corner, the Bullets, you're right, Jack, having all kinds of trouble keeping him from making plays.
You get the ball straight back in his hands, and why not? Nice pass into the corner. McDowell White, big knockdown.
Huge.
The local boy in front of his friends and family today steps up at an important moment in the game. And then Franks at the other end can't knock down his treble. The Breakers try and score off back-to-back possessions. Wide open Besson. Not that time. Bullets dodge exactly that. Patterson fouled on the floor.
That's a fourth personal on Yanni Wetzel. And look at the lineup that the Breakers have on the floor. Here's that late pass from Jeremiah Martin setting up Will McDowell White. Four playmakers, Siva, Will McDowell White, Jeremiah Martin and Hugo Besson, and one big in Yanni Wetzel, who's their pick and roll big. Now, makes it tough to guard at one end, but they can get exposed defensively down the other.
A minute 42 remaining. It's New Zealand who lead 83-77 in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
It's a nervous time now for the New Zealand Breakers, albeit that they've got a 6-point lead, but in the back of their minds, it's been what's been happening so far throughout the course of the season and how they need to get through this last minute and a half or so. We've got a coach's challenge.
We do.
And Shamir, not sure what the challenge is for.
On the foul.
On the foul.
Yeah.
Yanni Wetzel, body foul. There's another lookout. Lamar Patterson. Wetzel puts his hand up, so I've got it.
It's a little push.
Puffs the chest out.
You wouldn't have been we wouldn't have complained if it wasn't called, but from the replay, he did push him. Hard to overrule. You can't see that. It's a push. Soft one, but it's a push.
Six-point lead to the New Zealand Breakers. And during that break, we're witnessing a coach's challenge. The review centre taking a look at different angles. The review is from New Zealand, or by New Zealand, I should say, for the foul call on Yanni Wetzel. Push slam.
Definitely body contact. Not in great defensive position there. Side on with Lamar Patterson, so be surprised if it's overruled.
Coach's challenge is successful. The call is overturned. We have a jump ball.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
In the middle, and they keep their time out.
There you go. Dan Schmidt is on fire.
Look at Dan go.
With his coach's challenges this afternoon.
It's 2 from 2
I'm
today.
astounded that was... Like, I think in the course of the game, if that wasn't called, we wouldn't have complained. But on the replay, you could see what the officials saw.
Because the ball is in the air, no one has possession of the call, it's cancelled as a jump ball.
What? He was going for a layup. Can you explain that to me? Can you explain that to me?
Stop, slow down. I'll tell you. They challenged the call. It's a layup. He's let the ball go. No one has possession. The call is cancelled. It's a jump ball in the centre circle, 24.
There's the explanation from Michael Aylen.
So I guess on that basis, if it was successful and if that ball had gone in, it would have counted. Because he's saying that he's released the ball and it was a rebounding contest.
Oh, all's well that ends well from a Brisbane point of view. They get it back. Patterson, that time no dispute about the foul with Siva reaching in.
What is, and Lamar Patterson surprisingly has been a bit of an adventure from the free throw line. He's missed some big free throw attempts already this season. In fact, only shooting at 36%. And he's way better than that and knocked that one down like he knew what he was doing. Across his career, he's 74%, and that looked like he knew what he was doing. That didn't look like a 4 of 11 free throw shooter.
9 of the last 10 games between New Zealand and Brisbane at home for Brisbane have been decided by 6 points or less, and here we are again. Fans riding every possession at Nissan Arena.
James Duncan telling his assistant coach to have a quick look at the replay. Wind it back. Try to decide whether or not he should review the out of bounds. Good effort from Dremic. Getting right up and in Seaver's handle. And players all over the place.
Can't tell from that angle.
Ball spews out of bounds.
Refs can review it. So he doesn't have to burn a timeout. Last 2 minutes, so the officials are allowed to review it. So here's a bonus, and even from that one, it might be off Wetzel.
Did it catch
a leg?
A foot or a leg on the way through.
So like Yanni's just thrown it out, is that right?
Just to confirm what Drew was saying there, out-of-bounds calls are for the coaches to challenge for the first 38 minutes of the game. And the final 2 minutes, they actually can't challenge it. But the referees can send it up to the replay centre for the final 2 minutes. So this one goes next door for them to have a look at.
83-79.
So it has to be in dispute in those last 2 minutes. That looked like it come off Wetzel, didn't it? Gee whiz. It happens very quickly, and to me, it was Yanni Wetzel trying to pass the ball out. It didn't look like there was too many other hands in there, and maybe the right foot. Are you suggesting it was the right leg of Lamar, Jack?
Possibly, but I say that with no conviction whatsoever.
Or did Frank? Gee, it's going to be hard to overrule it. Do you see anything definitive there? Because maybe Frank's right. Oh no! Oh, I don't know. Jeez,
This top right hand angle, the side angle might be. There's some bodies in the way. There's Wetzel trying to pass it.
To me, it's a little inconclusive, though, isn't it? There's nothing overly clear to say that they should overrule it. Unless... Because you don't know whether Franks has hit that or not. Did he hit... How can you tell? Please.
What do we do? Rock, paper, scissors?
No, well, you got to go with the original decision of the officials, which was New Zealand ball. So it's a big play. Insufficient evidence. I'm 1 for 1. Liam's 0 for 2. Even though I might have.
Well, big play here. 80 seconds to play, essentially 4-point lead to the Breakers. Huge possession here. The Bullets, if they can get a stop 11 on the shot clock.
Seaver to inbound. 8 assists, 10 points, and a big fourth quarter by Jeremiah Martin. Nice look from McDowell White. Loose ball. New Zealand get it back.
Massive.
Now they can start to burn time off the clock. Seaver. Sobey falls down. No call. McDowell White's pass. Chopped off. And Frank's lost it. New Zealand are going to get it straight back.
There's panic on both teams.
Yeah, just lacked a little poise there. Robert Franks, really good defensive effort from Nathan Sobey on those 2 possessions there. Sliding his feet on Martin and then on Seaver.
Well, the deflection on the pass, it was going to Wetzel for the dunk. And they're able to get a deflection, and then Frank's just a level of panic that really wasn't required. Still had plenty of time to get it down there, just done a little bit more composure.
Still no
need, they turn it over.
Still no need of foul for the Bullets.
19 turnovers for the Bullets. That's been the difference in this one. Only 8 to the New Zealand Breakers.
Ticking to 30 seconds remaining. Basol steps back. The Bullets live. Sobey quickly trying to get it up the floor. Hat Drimic, backdoor cut, scores. 2-point game at Nissan Arena.
Great find from Sobey, just trying to probe and put heat on the rim, pressure on the defense, and then nicely timed movement off the ball from Drimic. His defender caught ball watching. On that far side, Jeremiah Martin just loses Drimic for a moment, and the Bullets make the Breakers pay.
Spot on. Really good by Drimic to recognise that his man had lost vision and come away with a easy 2. Now, I doubt very much they'll advance the ball here. They'll keep it in the backcourt because they don't want to lose the time. And they want to try and eat up as much time as they possibly can. If you advance it, it only goes to 14. But Lamar Patterson, after a somewhat slow start, just was chipping away. And he's got the 17 points, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Also has the 7 boards. And he's been solid. Not spectacular, but solid.
He might still have a role to play in this one. 83-81 inside the final minute. And if you think that you could nail one from full court, well, then you need to enter this competition. The details are on your screen. You'll be shooting for $100,000 for a full court shot. If not, you can go to halfway, shoot for 50K. And life would be a lot better with 50 grand in your pocket, Liam.
There's no doubt about that.
Better with
Life would be a lot better for the Breakers if they can get their first win of the season. As Drew says, Denshmir's going to take it full length of the floor so that the shot clock's turned off. Full 22 seconds to play with. And the Bullets, they're going to need to apply some pressure, either force a turnover or eventually foul.
Next foul will have New Zealand on the line. McDowell White gets it beyond halfway. Drimic fouls Seaver.
Yep, they took the strategy, hey, in the backcourt, we're going to gamble, we'll get up there, try and cause a turnover, but as soon as it got over the centre line, they commit the foul, and now it just comes down to free throws.
Third game of the Hungry Jacks NBL season for Peyton Seaver. 11 points in the first outing against the Phoenix, 2 in the second. We haven't seen him since then due to injury.
It's a perfect 2 of 2 in his game so far from the free throw line. Make that 4 of 4, and none bigger than those 2.
Timeout, Brisbane. 15.8 left.
Brisbane on this one, they'll draw up the plate. They will advance the ball. Their time is not their friend right now, so they need a basket, 2 or a 3. These plays here, you'd like to have options where you're coming off quick action for a good look at a 3. If not, a penalty for a guy to get a nice, if it's a quick one, to get a 2 and play the free throw game again.
Yep. You see there the timeouts remaining. It means that if they do get a quick score,
they got another crack at it.
The Bullets, they can just take a moment to try to get a trap and a steal, quick foul, and they'll be able to have another crack at it after that. Yanni Wetzel, he has been huge this afternoon. 27 points, 8 rebounds. A lot of these highlights will be him going to work in the block. Here he is running the middle cylinder, getting ahead of the defense. But a lot of this, throw it into him down low, one-on-one, single coverage the Bullets decided to use against the big fella down there. And he went to work. And then in this fourth quarter especially, Jeremiah Martin has fed it to him. Working off that middle pick and roll. Wetzel's so tough as the roll man in those situations, and that's been a good little combination. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a couple of steals. Big afternoon of work.
Career high day for Yanni Wetzel in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Brisbane advanced the ball. Patterson got his feet caught up. That's not what the Bullets were looking for, and now they're forced to foul. That is a bad mistake.
Well, it looks like his feet just stumbled, whether it was a trip or just slipped, whatever it was, just fell at the wrong moment. And the inbound part was going to be the right look. They were clearly going to Patterson.
As Frank's dove to the basket, tripped on his foot.
Well, it happens. The Breakers, it happened to Hugo Besson. As Seaver steps up, misses that first one. Happened to Besson. Yep. In overtime, was it? Against Illawarra in Wollongong.
Seaver makes 1 of 2.
Ended it quick.
Sobey has driven once again. They get the quick bucket. 3.9 left.
They still had one timeout.
Yeah.
So
it was big that they didn't use it there.
Yeah.
Quick bucket. Now they can foul. And if the problem is that you can't call the timeout off the live rebound.
No, you can't.
Really. So it's if the
but
Breakers,
4 seconds is still enough. That I don't think.
But the Breakers make that second one and they call the timeout, Brisbane can be down 4.
Correct. The key is the first, but you make that first one. Well, it's game. Make either of them, and it's really game over. You can't get 2-possession game. So you got to hope that you can commit a foul. They miss both, and then you're flying it down there and throwing up probably something. You have got enough time to get a decent look over the centre line, but it's a tough. 4 seconds is not a lot.
3 of the next 4 at home for the Brisbane Bullets. The Phoenix, Tassie, a trip to Cairns, and a game against Illawarra. So at least for the next couple of weeks, they won't be leaving the state of Queensland, Brisbane.
And they'll be better for this run, for sure, after the rough couple of weeks they've had. And you got to feel good for the Breakers. As long as they don't turn this over, they get it in, they get fouled, go to the free throw line, close it out. They're going to come up with their first win of the season after that 0 of 6 start. And I think a lot of people will feel good for this team getting that win on the board.
First job is to safely inbound, which they do. And they're going to break through New Zealand. They can't celebrate just yet. Delaney's going to be on the line, and look at the relief on the face of Dan Shamir, the New Zealand coach. We understand the challenges that this team are going through, and in fact, we probably don't understand all of the challenges that they're going through playing away from home this Hungry Jacks NBL season, but
one shot.
They can smile tonight. High fives all round. There's owner Matt Walsh. The Breakers are on the board for the Hungry Jacks NBL22 season after 6 straight losses. Winners today at Nissan Arena, 88-83, and look at what it means to them.
It is. They had to hang on. Great effort by Brisbane. Brisbane just looked not quite engaged enough in that first half, but full credit to the New Zealand Breakers. They came out with that fire in the belly. And this man here, there was no doubt about our footlocker player of the game, and it's Yanni Wetzel. 27 points, 8 rebounds, provided that spark in that first half. 15 of those 27 coming in the first half. And an outstanding job by the Breakers just to hold their composure down the stretch, because it was the tide was against them, but they figured out a way which they haven't been able to do previously to hang on.
We're back to wrap it up after this. It's a great day for New Zealand basketball. The Breakers get it done, 88-83. You're watching Sunday Hoops and the Hungry Jacks NBL. New year, new breakers. 0-6 coming into today. They break through for their first win of the season, 88-83.
And you know what? There's still a lot more upside to this team. They got the win today, but and they did it through grit in the end. They had to find a way when things were not going all their way. And I think that the turnovers for the Brisbane Bullets is something they'll look back on and it cost them. So you can't have 20 turnovers in an NBL game these days and feel like you're going to have a good chance to get the win, albeit that they almost pulled it off. So a lot to like about the New Zealand Breakers. They're going to get better as this team sees it back into the lineup. He comes a little bit more familiar there. We saw that unfortunate play there with a little trip by Lamar Patterson, which denied them a chance to score. But Liam, it was a workmanlike performance. We take a look at the ladder, and the Wildcats sitting on top with 5-1. That's a position they're pretty accustomed to, and 1-6. Great to see New Zealand get their first win.
Well, one looks better in that W column than the donut.
It most certainly does. Well done to the Breakers, their first win of the season. The Hungry Jacks NBL will be back on Thursday. As scheduled, it'll be Illawarra taking on Sydney. On behalf of Drewy, Liam, John Iguana, Derek Rucker and all of our team, thanks for being with us. We'll see you on Thursday.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jacks and Bunnings Trade.
So get them to look into the...
yeah, so that's the name of the actual one, but they just would it'll be that actual camera left the other end of the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, okay, no worries.
Camera right, camera right. Hey, hey, hey.
One out of 3 years.
Camera left, camera left.
I know.
Oh. Who's doing
That's New Zealand first, yeah.
It is New
That's
Zealand?
perfect,
Okay.
yeah. Do you want me to... Sorry, I started the thing if we want to test it, the meeting. Hello, how you going? I've just started the program. I'm Susie.
The host will let you in soon. It is in.
Sorry, that's me.
Something's happening. Computer audio.
So you'll get them and bring them in? Oh, no, that's fine. Usually we don't have another here, so I'm going and grabbing them. So it's quite nice.
So whenever you're ready, I'm ready to get with you.
No worries.
Have you done this before?
We had one in dinner.
It's easy actually.
Oh, I've got yeah.
So we're getting feedback, or that's okay?
Only because.
Do you want me to pop outside again?
Oh, her microphones.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just muted.
Just to do with your mic.
I just muted.
Cool. Yeah, okay. So we're ready to go, yeah? Hey, no, we were out on the field play. That like ages. Dale can't like tell you off. These things like into the other way. Yeah, no, I'm alone. Oh, okay. You have to go in trouble for outside. You said that for the play, when I was walking out there and just jumped in back. No, there's one bit where like the play was going and you and I were just out.
Is it still better if I sit outside? Because if I speak into it, then it might echo?
And then I'll just told me and they said,
Do you ask questions?
says I'll just get a shot from where you are.
I mean, if you're muted, it's
Pardon? Oh no, it's just if I unmute and say like, go ahead, start asking questions, then it might.
No.
I can try.
Yeah. Let's do a test.
Hi guys, I won't be long.
Really? You'll know that now.
You can't just.
That's right.
I
I'll just sit
suppose you can
outside.
see someone in there and just mute them.
So you need to speak to them, do you?
Pardon?
You need to speak to them while you're doing it.
Oh no.
Because you're muting it would solve the problem, right?
Yeah. So when I'm on mute. So literally fire away.
Exactly. Yeah. You wouldn't need to be outside for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.